Hi, I'm William,
I'm Kat.
and this is a dash of info.
Little things you want to know. So, we talked about cricket flower and edible insects in our bread episode.
Yeah, we were curious about what the insects tasted like, and then we kind of wanted to do a little deeper dive into cricket flower because we had never heard of it before.
Right.
So, a dash of info, cricket flower and edible insects.
So, the practice of eating insects, known as entomophagy, dates back thousands of years and has been a part of human diets across many cultures.
Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans consumed insects as an essential food source, taking advantage of their high protein content and availability. Hmm.
Ancient texts from civilizations such as the Greeks, Romans, and Chinese mention insect consumption, often highlighting their nutritional benefits and even their status as delicacies in certain societies.
In ancient Greece, Aristotle and other scholars documented the consumption of cicadas, while the Romans considered certain beetles and larvae as gourmet foods. You know, I kind of see now we're talking a little bit about it. Insects were around, and you got to think,
In
you have,
abundance.
yeah, and so you have civilizations. You don't always have you've got bread, you got grain. We talked about bread, grain storage and bread. I get it, and now that we're getting into it, I know when we first talked about it a little bit, I didn't really understand it, but now I really kind of get it more than I did in the beginning.
Right. Right. And I mean, to be fair, eat the locusts before the locusts get to the crops, right?
Yeah, true.
In China, edible insects were not only eaten, but also used in traditional medicine for their perceived health benefits. And there are a lot of perceived health benefits that come out of China.
We should do a whole episode, maybe a top 10 or something other.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
that sounds good to me.
Okay. Also in Africa and Latin America, indigenous tribes incorporated insects like grasshoppers, ants, and termites in their diets, recognizing their rich protein content and abundance in nature. And I have had chocolate ants before.
Ooh.
I mean, to be honest with you, you didn't really know. I didn't know I was eating them until I was eating them, and I was like, "Oh, that's what that is."
Oh, so you were surprised.
Yes, very. But it was good. I mean, I didn't stop. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is pretty good."
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, you're already in it to win it. Religious texts also reference insect consumption. The Bible, for instance, mentions that John the Baptist survived on locusts and wild honey in the wilderness. And that is like a pretty good diet right there. I mean, you've got your proteins, and wild honey is definitely full of electrolytes and all kinds of other good stuff. So, sounds like he survived pretty good to me.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, for sure, because you have both. You have, just like you said, protein and electrolytes. I mean, yeah, that would be enough to sustain the body.
Yep.
In Jewish and Islamic dietary laws, locusts are one of the few insects that are considered kosher and halal, respectively, and are still eaten in certain Middle Eastern and African cultures today. Hmm.
During the 19th and early 20th centuries, insect consumption declined in many Western countries, largely due to the industrialization of agriculture and the shift toward livestock farming. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see that.
yeah, because especially when you're America and you got a vast new land and you're able to grow uh, large amounts of cattle or livestock to sustain what you have. But
Right. I
just
mean,
think
in
about those
some
early.
areas.
Well, you think about those earlier settlers. They were starving
Hmm.
before the indigenous people of America helped them. First Thanksgiving or helped them uh, be sustainable. So
Right.
I wonder if that was a part of consumption too. Hmm.
Right.
Insects became associated with poverty and survival food rather than a desirable source of nutrition. However, in many parts of Asia, Africa, and South America, eating insects remained a common practice, with markets selling dried, roasted, or fried insects as street food. You
Mm.
know, in Mexico, you can get You can get certain, like, I think it's like scorpions in the little candy cubes and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. And there, I remember when we were in Texas, you could get them in Texas too. Like, I can't remember. They had different insects and different like candies that were there.
Right. They have them at those uh, a lot of times at like the souvenir shops and the gift shops and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interest in edible insects reemerged in the 21st century. I don't know why. To me, that sounds gross, but whatever. Driven by concerns about food safety, sorry, not safety, food security, environmental sustainability, and the search for alternative protein sources.
Mm,
That's fair. That's
yeah.
fair.
Research from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, also known as FAO, has highlighted the benefits of insect farming, noting that it requires significantly less land, water, and feed compared to traditional livestock. Well, yeah, I would say so.
I can imagine, one livestock eats lots of bugs, whereas lots of little bugs eat something pretty big for a long time.
But it would take a whole lot of bugs to make a meal, though. I guess we shouldn't call them bugs. We should call them farmed insects.
Maybe that's a word for it for sure. I'm still not. I'm personally just not okay with the insects. Up to the crunch. I don't do the crunch thing. The crunch sets me off. Ugh. But anyway, I digress. Countries such as Thailand, Mexico, and China have long embraced insect farming, and now Western nations are exploring it as well, with companies producing cricket flour, protein bars, and gourmet insect based snacks.
Would you try cricket flour?
Um, Somebody else make me a baked good and send it to me, okay? And then we'll talk about it.
All right. Cricket flour, also known as cricket powder, is a protein-rich powder made from crickets. Unlike traditional flours made from grains, cricket flour is primarily composed of protein rather than starches and dietary fiber.
Cricket flour is packed with essential nutrients, including the 9 essential amino acids, calcium, iron, potassium, vitamin B12, B2, and fatty acids. So we can maybe add it with cacao and have some really cool brownies.
Hey, there you go. Now you're thinking outside the. I would try that.
Yeah,
I would.
yeah.
I
Make it
mean,
make it chocolate and I'm down.
there you go. Chocolate makes everything better.
It does.
Um, in Western countries, insects for food must follow the same safety rules as other foods. The processing can be done on a large scale or locally. It starts with the optional. You can optionally remove the insect's insides. Like that's optional. You can leave them in there. You can take them out. It's optional.
I don't know how you
That
remove an insect's insides, and my only thought process is like you squish it and separate the squishy bits from the crunchy bits. I don't
the
know.
um,
Maybe I'm thinking it too much. Maybe
maybe you were
maybe they
thinking it.
dissect it
There you go.
and
Oh,
scrape it out. I don't know.
man, that's
It
a
all
whole lot of
sounds a
work,
little
though.
weird. Yes, I mean it's little bitty things
I
like
think
because
the optional would be to
crickets
leave
and
it in there.
like grasshoppers or anything like that, they're just not very big.
Mm.
Then they're preserved or freeze dried using materials like burlap or plastic. Finally, they're either stored in freezers or ground into powders. Cricket flour is made from freeze dried crickets that are cooked and ground into a fine, dark brown powder.
So, the powder, I guess the cricket flour would be kind of like a brownish color. I didn't look up any images of it, but
Like unprocessed flour looking, maybe?
yeah, like whole grain flour. So, I mean, as long as I would definitely try it in brownies or something first.
Mm-hmm.
That would be better for you too.
Right. That's healthy brownies.
There you go. The average price of cricket flour is around $40 per pound or $88 per kilogram, influenced by limited commercialization and few processors. And just in case you're wondering here, we kind of did a little bit of math. Normal flour costs around about 55 cents a pound. So that's a pretty big increase there.
That's a lot. That's
That's
expensive.
that's I was gonna say those are expensive brownies. They better be
Mm.
good.
Yes. I'm saying the fountain of youth brownies. Um, Cricket flour can be used in various processed food products, including pasta, bread, cookies, snacks, chips, nachos, and smoothies. It can completely replace traditional flour, offering a nutty taste and potentially altering the cooking process of foods typically made with wheat flour.
And I guess I didn't think about this, but there's some people that really require a lot more nutrients than regular flour can offer, and this would be a better alternative for them. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
it's a little more pricier, but I mean, yeah,
It's
I
healthier.
yeah, I didn't even think about that part of it. So today, dried edible insects are sold in specialty stores and online, marketed as an eco-friendly and nutritious superfood. While cultural perceptions still play a role in their acceptance, the growing interest in sustainability and alternative proteins suggests that insect consumption may become more mainstream in the future. And you and I we're proof of the perception here. It's a
Hmm.
cultural perception. It's
It
not
is.
something that we grew up thinking about,
Right.
whereas some other cultures did.
Right. Exactly. Um, and my only issue that I could see with making it more mainstream, really, at this point, is there's no iron. So we'd still have to get iron from somewhere.
I didn't even
Um,
think about that, but that is correct. We would.
right. So dried edible, I mean, you could still get iron from like leafy greens, but you got to eat a whole lot of leafy greens.
Yeah, a whole lot of leafy
A
greens.
whole lot. Dried edible insects are gaining popularity worldwide as a sustainable, protein rich food source. They're not only highly nutritious, containing essential amino acids, healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals, but they also have a much smaller environmental footprint than traditional livestock. Well, insects are more symbiotic with the environment around them.
Yeah,
I mean, rather than not omnivores, even herbivores. I mean, they don't really symbiote with the environment too well. They just kind of eat it.
I don't think either it would fully replace livestock, traditional livestock or traditional meals, but I think it could definitely be, a part of the diet process.
Right, right,
Um, Eating insects is common in many cultures, particularly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Western countries are gradually embracing them as an alternative protein source, especially as concerns about food sustainability grow. Our population's growing. We're not increasing land. We're not increasing farmland, so we're got to have food from somewhere.
right. Similarly, mealworms have an earthy, slightly nutty taste and are commonly incorporated into rich protein snacks or stir fries with spices. The only time I've seen mealworms eaten as snacks was by a hedgehog, and that's in person anyway.
Well, I used to watch Survivor Guy when he was on, and
Hmm.
he would tear down on some mealworms.
Or like Bear Grylls or what was that, Edwin?
Yeah, I don't know Survivor Guy's name, but he used to have a show. I can't remember. I think it was Discovery, and he would be dropped off somewhere. He would have 7 days to survive, and then they would come back and get him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Bear Grylls.
Well, I think Survivor Guy did it first, and he would never know what they gave him. They would give him a bag, and
Oh,
he would look in his bag, and he would have like random stuff. And
yeah,
he's like, "Oh, well, I don't have a knife this time," or whatever.
all right. Hmm.
Look him up. He's
I feel
actually
like I've
pretty fun
seen
to
it.
watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Grasshoppers, which are larger than crickets, have a slightly grassy taste and are typically roasted and seasoned with chili or garlic for added flavor.
Okay. Chili makes everything better.
I think garlic makes everything better too.
I love garlic.
Hmm.
Yeah. Another widely consumed insect is the silkworm pupae, which is particularly popular in Korea and China. These have a soft interior and are strong umami flavor, often served boiled or roasted with spices. I would think I'd rather have that roasted than boiled if I had to eat it.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about soggy now.
No, no, no. I would rather have that boiled. I mean, roasted than boiled for sure.
Yeah.
But I would try
Other
it.
other dried insects include black soldier fly larvae, which that just sounds
Bad.
gross. Gross. Uh, which are valued for their high protein and fat content and are increasingly being used in both human and pet food. I feel like we're talking about Timon and Pumbaa's like favorite insects here. We got the slimy yet satisfying.
Oh, there you go. Ants, known for their tangy citrus-like flavor due to their natural formic acid, are sometimes used in gourmet dishes to add a unique taste. Additionally, beetles and weevils, which have a nutty or potato-like taste, are enjoyed in various traditional cuisines.
For those looking for a more exotic experience, scorpions and tarantulas are also consumed, often deep fried or roasted with a crispy texture and a seafood like flavor. Uh,
Mm, scorpion.
I was trying so hard to just read that normal. Oh, oh, God.
You have a seafood thing? Is that
I
it?
don't like seafood.
Mm,
What,
I
I,
love seafood.
it just it brings to mind some calamari, and I have some not so good experiences with calamari, and I
Uh,
just don't like the way it tastes. It's rubbery and stuff, but I'm willing to bet like scorpions and tarantulas are not going to be rubbery, but more very much crunchy.
yeah, yeah, I would say. Calamari's good when it's fried. I like it fried. I don't like it any other way, but I do like it fried.
No thanks. Thanks, but no thanks.
Got you. There are many ways to enjoy dried insects. They can be eaten whole or roasted as a crunchy snack, often seasoned with barbecue, chili, or garlic for added flavor, and barbecue makes everything better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Some are ground into a fine powder and used as an ingredient in smoothies, protein bars, or baked goods. Others are incorporated into soups, stir fries, tacos, or even chocolates for a unique culinary experience.
Okay,
Just smother it in chocolate.
I don't want a smoothie. I'll try the protein bars, baked goods, maybe the stir fry, tacos, or chocolate. Definitely not soups or smoothies.
I don't, a smoothie would be, I would probably do that because it's definitely, you definitely can't tell. It's blended up in there. Probably not a soup though. That goes back into my like calamari story about a soup. And I just, no, thank you. I don't want to see floating bits of things
Well,
in a soup
chocolate makes everything better, right?
unless it's noodles or saltines. Chocolate sounds pretty good. Might could deal with chocolate. We'll see.
Yeah. As the global population grows, as we mentioned, the demand for sustainable protein sources are going to keep increasing. Edible insects may become a more common part of diets worldwide.
They offer an environmentally friendly, nutrient dense alternative to traditional meat, making them an excellent choice for those looking to expand their food horizons while contributing to a more sustainable future.
So, Kat, we have a question for our listeners.
Would you ever consider trying dried insects?
And you can email us that or send us a text using the link in the show notes. We would definitely love to hear from, or put it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, for sure. Put it on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Or
put a poll out there.
yeah, and we're just curious what your thoughts are on this episode for sure.
Absolutely. So if you'd like to support this podcast,
You can click the support link in the show notes.
William and I want to thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Join the Facebook group at Info on the Go.
Share with us your show ideas.
or ask us a question.
Subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
Email us at,
infoonthegopodcast@gmail.com.
and yes, that is all one word. Till next time.
Stay curious.